I came to the event with like notebook and people were like playing, minding their own time, and I was standing behind them and like noting stuff, and they were like glancing over, what are you doing? What are you doing? Am I doing something wrong? And I was like, shh. Hello boys and girls, welcome to the 22nd Primal Phrase Devlog. Today I wanted to talk to you about my first ever convent I visited as an exhibitor with Primal Phrase, and all the people who played it, what feedback I got, and other stuff like that. But before we begin, I also wanted to tell you that I'm changing my devlog format. Since today I will try my best to record them and upload them weekly, to maybe give you guys a lot more feedback on the game, how's it going constantly, instead of doing like those more in-depth videos, because they were also really exhausting for me to make. They took a lot of time, so just sit back, relax, take something to eat, and take a listen. So last week I visited Warsaw's GDC convent, and what it basically was a small event with a few exhibitors showing off their games, but also other universities trying to recruit people to the game dev, like courses and some firms recruiting. A university was there and they are promoting their game lab department, and I have a game, so I took a stand. It's really nice because it usually costs more than $1,000 USD. So it's big money for me. So being able to go there for free, we take those. So I visited it and I was pretty stressed because I didn't know if I would go to the last moment, and I actually got to know that I am going a week before. And I was going on Friday, and on Wednesday I was pushing away the build I wanted to show people, because at this time I was doing roguelike, and I wanted to give people this really small tutorial loop of the roguelike to play. And I needed all the systems to work for that. So instead of going to school, I was grinding day and night to get it done for the event, and it really didn't have time for testing. So it was a gamble in a way, because it could just not work, and then I would be sitting on the convent just rapidly fixing my game and pushing out another build from my laptop. But fortunately that didn't come to it. So I did the build. If you want to see the depths of roguelikes, it's my previous devlog, you can check it out. So I'm sitting on this convent, right? And with my game, the university, because it was last minute, the university didn't give me any equipment. So I'm sitting there with my laptop, and I took my monitor, I took all of my stuff and put it there. So it was really janky and organized at last minute. But people came and there was no bugs, so that's amazing. There was no bugs. People came, played the game. Some were more casual and some really professional players, and they were really nitpicky. I have this first level on the game, first level in the tutorial, and the guy was like, why is this bush here? I can shield it, so it makes me want, basically you can shield bashes in my game, and it's a niche mechanic which isn't really useful most of the time. So this guy came, and in the tutorial I am supposed to shield myself, but I can't shield the bash, and as a new player I don't know, am I supposed to protect the bash or what to do with the bash? And he went on this 5-minute rant about the bash, and the bash was only there because I thought it looked pretty, So yeah, people from the industry can be really nitpicky, but of course really great feedback. In terms of the user experience, I learned a lot. The part people kept getting stuck on constantly is this moment, because in Primal Phrase there are two phases. There's a move phase and attack phase, and if an enemy is standing right next to you and you want to attack him, you are supposed to skip the move phase and then attack him. But people got really confused. They were like highlighting the hit ability, and then they can't hit the enemy because they are in the move phase and they don't understand it because they didn't read the tutorial I made, but they didn't read it because they were on a convent where everything is happening so quickly. So basically each person that played, I had to come over to and like explain this one detail, and after that it was smooth sailing. They were like catching up on the game and having really good fun, but this one mechanic just like kept driving like people insane. So actually now that it's 1 week after the event, I managed to let in the feedback and change some of the stuff. So I I changed my whole turn management mechanic, and now still have 2 phases under the hood, but you may choose whichever of the 4 abilities and use it instantly, so that it's easier for people to adapt to the how the game plays, because it's really unintuitive. So I done that. But other than this one mechanic, people were really having a blast. I mean, most of them weren't strategy games players, and the game is quite complex. You have to think a little, or maybe a lot, because I like hard games, and so I'm making hard strategy roguelike. And people outside of the target were like, it's a bit complex for me, not my cup of tea, but at least they were all saying like it's still a lot of fun and it's really pretty, like we enjoyed the experience. So it was nice. But you could see like people actually, like my target audience, people loving to to think and loving strategy games. They were like, "Ooh, that's amazing!" And they were like coaching their friends, because, for example, there came 2 guys, and one of the guys were like, "I don't know what am I doing," and he was doing really stupid decisions, and the other guy over his shoulder was like, "Christopher, not like that! Oh my God, Christopher, what are you doing?" "Ah, great job, Christopher, you killed that tree." It was just so hilarious, like looking at those 2 go at each other, because the one that was playing clearly had no idea what he was doing, and the other one standing like on the side, like really instantly like got what the game was about and was having laughing off at his friend, and it was really an amazing experience. Like a lot of fun, people were really nice. So it was a 2-day event. On the second day I was really a lot more chill, because all the feedback I gathered on the first day, I knew what was going on. I knew that there weren't bugs. I knew about the skip mechanic, so I could like intervene and tell people instantly what the problem was. So yeah, so basically the second day there were a lot more people and a lot more casual people, so less nitpicky. I mean, it was a great first experience, really. I haven't met a single like rude person, and everyone were really supportive. I came to a lot of like stands with people from different industries, and there were like people marketing games in China, and they were targeting like bigger players. You have like a game on the market since like for a year, and you have 40% people coming from China, so they are like using like big brain strategies to market there. And I'm coming to them, "Yeah, I don't have a game, I'm a single dev, I don't have money for you guys, but let's talk." And they like spent half an hour, 40 minutes chatting with me and basically giving me any knowledge they thought could like be beneficial for me. So really, this event was maybe not eye-opening, but really an amazing experience, and I'm so happy I went. And I for sure plan on going to more of such events in the future. What's most important, it was a validation for me that the game that I'm making is really fun. Even people like, I don't usually play games, or I don't usually play like those types of games, even them were like having fun. I had like people tell me, "Yeah, I'm not into such games, but this game like made me want to play more," so that's like a really good sign, right? And such feedback was amazing, because it can get a little demotivating after a few months sitting in your own like room with no other people to talk to, and basically developing game by yourself, and you think the things you are doing are cool, but are they really cool? I don't know. So it was a nice validation. So I guess that sums up the event. Really great. I will go to more events in the future, and I'm actually going to Pixel Haven in Warsaw, like in April, I think. I will let you know like when it comes up. I came to the event with like notebook and people were like playing, minding their own time, and I was standing behind them and like noting stuff, and they were like glancing over, what are you doing? What are you doing? Am I doing something wrong? And I was like, so basically I had a few pages of feedback, mostly UX. I told you about the skip already, and I was implementing the stuff this weekend. Basically most of those things are parts of the game connected with clarity of what's going on. So for example, I had a grid, and Primals were, when they were standing close to each other, they were really overlapping, and it was difficult to see who's who. So I made the grid bigger and each like hex bigger. And now because of that, my maps are smaller, I mean less hexes with the same size, but you can see everything so much clearer. And I swapped the old HP bars with new HP bars, so that, because previously there were like two distinct visual elements that were grabbing your attention individually and fighting for your attention, and now it's like a single element, which it's like more concise, you know. You have a primal and you have a HP bar, and that's all. And previously you had a primal, an HP bar, and a number, and it were like 3 elements for a single element in a small space. Really difficult to see. So that's the one thing. Second one, I swapped the background finally. I was really proud of that background a few months ago, but right now it has to go. You served me well, young friend, but you have to like compare this like to that. I will show you on the screen. I mean, what can you even say, right? I'm a better pixel artist than I was like 6 months ago, and I even see that when I'm drawing primals, because I was drawing a few more primals recently, like basically testing the waters. And like the ice golem is as big as he is because I couldn't fit the design a smaller shape, and I find myself drawing shapes too small, like this frog, like it's a redraw of the old frog. And basically it's too small for the hexes in the game, and I have to then scale it up to the old primals, because now, I don't know, after these few months, I am suddenly able to fit like my designs in smaller space, and it looks like more cohesive. So that's interesting. I don't know, I have the urge to redraw everything from the past, but then in like 1 year time, I will want to redraw everything from now, because this will be like terrible for me and from the future. So that's a struggle, but I will try to just do something in between and like pick and match between those style changes to make the game coherent. I hope it will work out. So that's that. For example, I changed the water, because the water in the build, people were saying, I was like teaching them in the tutorial, basically freeze the water, my man, to come to the last boss and kill him. And people were like saying, I thought this water was already frozen, it needs to move a little, right? And I was like, yeah, okay. So I finally done the moving water, and I don't know if it's too realistic maybe, but you guys can let me know in the comments, because I cannot really wrap my head around it. Drawing water is still difficult for me. I tried to make it more like cartoony, like the waterfall, but I just couldn't make it. I tried and tried, but after a few hours, like, no way, I just couldn't. So I made it more realistic. And I've done quite few interesting things with the water, because if you look at it, you can see like the hexes underneath it. It's like half translucent, but it actually isn't translucent. What I've done is basically I took the hexes and like arranged them in a way in Sprite, so that some are higher and some are lower, to suggest like the empty water pool, right? Like empty lake. And then I used like layers with overlay and like different, basically, how do you call them? With basically layers with different interactions and transparency to like overlay on top of the grass beneath, so the grass is still visible. And then I took the effect and basically told Sprite to change the colors to the colors from my palette. You do it by basically telling the Sprite to work in indexed color sprite mode, and he will like try to match every color to an index from your palette. And if you do that in that order, you suddenly have the effect of like similar effect to the realism we're trying to convey with the translucency, but now with your like custom color palette. So I'm not breaking my color palette by working that way, and I would never be able to like achieve this look by drawing it by hand. So that's quite nice trick, I think. Hopefully it's not too realistic, but again, you can let me know. So like those changes are really subtle, but a quick before and after, you can already see a difference. I also changed fonts because the old fonts were unreadable. I've actually done this before the event, but I haven't told you guys, so I'm telling you now. The new fonts are fantastic, and it's also a trick. I use, if you are wondering what the font in Primal Fray is, it's basically I took the free font from Google Fonts. The font is called EXO. It's free for commercial use, so you may use it also. And I put it into Asprite, and I told Asprite basically to write in this font with a certain like character height. Asprite is a program made for pixel art, so if you try to like put letters in there, he will pixelate it in a way. And I basically used that method to create a pixelated font from any font. And then I basically, I don't want to make a tutorial out of it, but basically I take the font, like the letters from there, I arrange it in a way, and then I use another tool to convert it into a font, and I use it in TextMesh Pro Unity. And that way I may make a pixelated font from any font without drawing every character by hand. Now the game is way more readable than before because of the hex size difference, the skip is more intuitive, the water flows, the text is readable, the hexes are bigger, and the HP bar, yeah, the HP bars are new. Yeah, but in the same like UX fashion. So for example, there are shortcuts to use abilities quicker, like you can use 1, 2, 3, 4 and E4 skip. Basically not to have to do the back and forth with your mouse all the time. And people didn't know about it because no one reads how to play, like options, help how to play, no one reads those, especially in the Convent. So right now I have like those little pop-up banners near the abilities for you to be able to just see, I can use this button to use that. So I added that. Oh, and I also done one more very cool thing. Previously, when you are highlighting a hex which you cannot target, you basically got this like icon with the red circle crossed. And what I've done, I've added like a negative icon for every icon. So if you want to fly somewhere and you can't, you have a fly icon like grayed out and crossed, and you know which ability are you trying to use and why doesn't it work, to further like help you understand visually what ability do you have selected, because people were like, I'm trying to punch him, but actually they had like the walk highlighted, right? And if they see like I can't walk here, and they were like, immediately like you get this confirmation of what you are doing wrong, like visually, and it's way quicker, it's way like more basically better for the player. Oh, I deleted the bash from the tutorial I was talking to you about. No more nitpick. No more nitpick. I mean, good feedback. To be honest, I think 25% of the people were shielding the bash. So I guess things like this really spark confusion, because I highlight, if you select like the shield ability, my game is like, oh, I will highlight all the possible hexes you can cast it on. And you have like your primal highlighted, but also this bash, and people were like, that's interesting, bam! Even because they don't understand like what makes sense or not, because it's the first time they are playing. So that's what I've been doing this weekend. I've also been designing some primals, also in my notebook, of course. And I have like a few pages of designs. Maybe I'll show you on screen, because I have this system. I have primals divided in tiers, so like weak primals, medium tier primals, and like superb primals, and you will get like stronger ones the further you go in a single round, right? So that your composition becomes stronger. And I wanted to like have the same amount in each biome, but also so they have to work together as a homogenic group. So like all the green primals have to work together, and all the green primals will use bushes in some way, for example. And I have to basically make sure so that all designs work well in a single group. But also it is important for you to mix the groups and they can work well together. And also there are hybrid primals. So basically half of the primals in my game will be recolors, because I'm a single animator and no way I'm doing like 50 primals by hand. I will do 25 primals by hand, and the other half will be like recolored, but with significantly different abilities, characters, etc. So I also have to like think which characters like make sense to go to each recolor, and the recolor like number of recolors has to be the same, so that in the end I have like 5 green primals and 5 red primals, and not like 7 red and 3 green, right? So I was also thinking a lot about those, and it took a lot. Like I sat down with my friend and we were going for like 5 hours and we couldn't stop. And when we finished, we were so like drained and so done. I cannot look, like it happened yesterday, and for the whole day today I haven't looked at the primals, because I was like, it's like, so to design all those systems and to think of the like combinations, it takes so much brain power. I never thought it would take so much brain power. But that's what I will be implementing later, so more primals. Because basically what's the target now is to make more biomes, more primals, a boss, and start pushing those runs, being able to make longer runs and actually test the balance of it. Are the runs too hard, too easy? How often do you come to different like things, etc. Basically the main target is to play the game more and more, because right now I have like this short tutorial done. It's like 15 minutes of play for like the introduction. But if I would be able to do like a single half a run even, so like a single half a run will take like, I don't know, 40 minutes maybe, then you know we are getting closer to actual game. I'm going for 24 minutes already. Oh my god. Oh my god, going off script is crazy. And also it's much easier for me. So I will do my best to see you here next weekend with another devlog, another changes, another thoughts. Yeah. And that's been all from me. Devlog 22 baby. The content was great, and I have a Discord. Cool people hang out there. Still quite little of us, but you may join and ask me anything. I'm trying to sit there as often as I can, reply to most people, unless like Mali and Plomek go crazy. Then I will leave the demons to their demons. But other than that, like, come join us. Also, I have a Patreon, and for like very cheap, for like $3, you may basically get your hands on the current build of Primal Fray Forever. I have also some other cool tiers there, like soundtrack and other different things. So basically, if you like what you see and you want to support me, and what's most important, you want to play it right now, you may go there. So that's been all from me. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next week. Bye bye.